Hey guys, we are looking at a QQQ rally this morning that has got us, doing some SuperVol Sunday stuff. If you were in Vegas and you went to SuperVol Sunday, or you're a boot camp alumni, those are shameless plugs for those events, but those events got you in front of the opportunity for profits this morning. And I'm really hoping that at least some of you are going to send me a text message or an email or something saying I nailed it, because everything played out by the book. If you don't know what part of the book I'm talking about and you were in Vegas, Palavoda, I'm talking to you. Go and drag through that manual, and at the end of the manual, you're going to see where the table values for what happened this morning played out exactly as per our discussion. So with that, let's go and take a look at the charts and talk about what the strategy is going to be going into the rest of the day and see where we might be now that these Qs have settled down into the second resistance level. Here you see it. This is the Q this morning, right? So, whether you're trading triple Q, spiders, diamonds, whatever, it can be NQ, ES. This was a move that was expected based on the economic news this morning. So the news that came out, very favorable to the market, and gave us this boost to the upside. On the triple Qs, the benefit is, right, that you're going to get this in the absence of banking and oils and all that kind of stuff, and that's really important for sort of a pure trade. If you trade in the ES, this was also a fairly straightforward trade. If you did it in the pre-market, if you were looking at the 8:30 open, like my friend Bibbs is doing, then for sure what you were looking at was a pop to the upside. And if you were doing this on the index holders, or if you were doing this once the market opened, the way that we do, then you were looking for a couple things to happen, one of which was the reaction to this move up here. So again, SuperVol Sunday, you know what that means. So once you see these threshold levels put into place, you should already be formulating what your strategy is going to be as we get into a 2 standard deviation move away from price, and that 2 standard deviation move happens to then be way out of this particular pivot line. So once we get beyond the second resistance pivot, we know that the expectation is that we're going to have a fade back into the space between these two pivots. And that makes for good trade. Got it in the Qs, missed it in the future. So I've got a couple questions for some of my TradeStation friends. So we're doing, obviously, the equities we trade in Realtek, and we've been trading the NQ in TradeStation. And I've got a couple questions about chart trading and getting the parameters set up, and why, or how I can get things sort of tweaked a little bit so that it doesn't come up and miss me. So it came up, and it just got shy of that level right there. I did manage to catch the move back down that got us into this resistance right here, right? Picked up a little scalp on the NQ on that one, but the big move of the day, of course, was the reversal from that upper band, from that 374.07 textbook. Like I said, whether you're a boot camp guy, or you are a SuperVol Sunday Las Vegas person, or you're coming to SuperVol Saturday in Orlando, right? These are all great events, and these are events where we go through and workshop the heck out of this stuff. It is unlike most trading events that anybody's going to go to, because we are talking about real strategy and real things you can go home and just implement in the morning to get into that order flow. This morning we had both a directional trade and a counter trend trade. And that's a little bit unusual for us, right? Since most days we want to stay with the, with the directional move that's going on in the index. But, today it just handed us the opportunity. And once the opportunity's there, you've got to capitalize on it. So with that said, it's when these guys here start narrowing up like that, that's sort of a tell. And that puts you in a position of saying, I think I know what's going on here, and I think I can see where, where things are going to be boxed up. And especially when you see confluence like this, where the volume by price and, the volume by price in TradeStation is a little different. I actually think it's very nice. You can really drill down into the what's happening on a bar by bar, tick by tick basis, and have that weighted and skewed in the bars and everything. So everybody's got a different way of representing this data. TradeStation and Realtick do, I think the best job. The version in Realtick is going to do a hierarchical cluster analysis of your volume by price data. The version in TradeStation is going to interlace it into the bar by bar data. Thinkorswim, you guys are getting an actual visual representation of what happened on a tick by tick basis in every bar. You just have it plotted out on the side like this. Actually, I think in Thinkorswim, it's going to plot it going back into the chart. So what you need to do is just move your chart data over to the left so you can still see the bars. But it's there for everybody. All this stuff is everything that we went through at SuperVol Sunday and everything that we're going through in Orlando. None of it's proprietary. All of it is stuff that's baked into most trading software. At least if your trading software is worth trading with, then the data is going to be there. But going into the rest of the session, what I want to see happen here is, right now, I'm going to say, even though we're net positive on the day, we've got this downtrend in place. I would like to see some moves back up into the range and, some hits at some of these threshold levels. So when we get up into these spots that we've seen this significant anchored VWAP and also this significant volume by price data, that tells us that we have the opportunity for a move back down into the range. And if we get extended, let's say up into here, then the converse, right? Then we're going to start watching for pullbacks that get us into the threshold levels and overlap with, give us confluence with these anchored VWAPs. Want to keep an eye on where we are in relation to the session VWAP. All this stuff's going to be important today on a big day like this. These are all important things to just, keep in your mind as you're watching for price to trade in the box. So, you're looking for these things to happen, but at the same time, you're looking to see where we are in relation to where we've been, and you're trying to really keep an eye on, what the broader index is doing, how much traction are we getting to the upside? Do we get up into, the top of the range? Are we going to be tracking sideways up here around 100 on that stochastic again? This is the kind of a day where I do want to look at all these different indications of what's going on and figure out, where my bias should be. But for right now, let's see if this move back up into the 2 standard deviation excursion of average price, if that gets us back into a move back at this band here that overlaps with this, if we don't have the possibility for a short side entry on the trade. All right, so I know that's a that's a mouthful, and that's just a bunch of stuff going on there. But I think that if you go back, especially all you guys who were, tons of you who've been through all this stuff. We got a couple hundred people who've been through boot camp and SuperVol Sunday and all that stuff, and this should really gel for you. And what I want you to do is, if it didn't, take a step back and just ask yourself, right, what is it that I should be looking for? Why should I look for it? And don't let yourself fall into this stranglehold of, I don't know what I'm doing, or I miss everything, or I don't. Just go through and pick it back apart, work on the psychology. What's it take for me to get in front of the opportunity? And when the opportunity's in front of me, what's it take for me to pull the trigger? It's that simple. All right. So with that said, I'm going to see all you guys probably later on today. We'll do a review of what we did this morning. And I think there's going to be lots of good opportunities. So stay frosty, get in front of those trades, and have a great trading day. If I don't see you later, I'll see you tomorrow.